I'm not a massive fan of Will Ferrell's comedies, but after watching him and his friend take a cross-country road trip in Will and Harper, the dude's got an amazing heart, and it makes me a massive fan of his real-life personality. When Will Ferrell finds out his close friend of 30 years is coming out as a trans woman, the two decide to embark on a cross-country road trip to process this new stage of their relationship in an intimate portrait of friendship, transition, and America. So if you're walking into this film thinking it's some propagandized proselytizing tool designed to turn everybody trans or gay, leave the preconceived and erroneous notions right at the door. This is a story first and foremost about friendship, and then the courage and learning that takes place as two longtime friends travel and joke together in a massively long car ride. Now, I didn't know that Harper Steele, formerly Andrew Steele, was not only a longtime writer for SNL, but also a writer of several of Will Ferrell's film projects. They share a friendship that's decades long, and to watch two buddies hit the road feels just like a road trip movie that just happens to feature a lot of vulnerability. So much of this is filmed within the car as the two take turns driving. Now, Harper used to drive back and forth across the country all the time, so this was an opportunity to do it again, but to also experience it for the first time as a woman, and then to see how the experience might change, if at all, especially with the interactions that she has with locals. Now, I think the first thing that struck me was the tenderness and pure love that Will Ferrell has for his friend. It has nothing to do with Harper now being a woman or previously being a man. They have this bond that's pure and endearing, and also wildly funny. The teasing and banter that's captured makes it easy to see how a lot of Ferrell's movies came about, using a writer who is so familiar with the actor that allows her to craft dialogue and scenes that exploit all the right bits. Now, not only is this a vulnerable film for Harper to participate in because she's literally putting herself out into the zeitgeist, but Will is also vulnerable, letting us watch as he asks questions that can really show his ignorance. And then it's echoed by Harper, who knows that Will is not inquiring to be malicious or hurtful, which she then welcomes the questions, even if they're delivered awkwardly. But Will can then touch on questions that are going to allow him to hear the heart of his dear friend, and then gain a deeper understanding of what led to this decision. I mean, Harper knows Will's heart, which then provides the trust and security to have conversations that may not be worded or delivered correctly, but are only inquired out of love and respect. Now, as the pair go from town to town and city to city, they encounter all walks of life. And Harper, not some posh person. So the places they visit, they're not typically ritzy or expensive. I mean, they hit up diners, dive bars, racetracks, even a Walmart parking lot. And as they visit these places, the responses, they're varied. Near the beginning of the trip, they go to an Indiana Pacers basketball game, sit courtside, and thanks to Ferrell's presence, get the attention of notable people. Now, while this might seem cool on the outset, the pair discuss all of the meanings of what actually occurred during that stop after they had it. Now, first, the crowds are drawn to Ferrell, which brings more of a spotlight onto Harper than she'd care to have. But they also meet the governor of Indiana. And even though Ferrell is great about introducing Harper as his longtime friend and how she has transitioned and they're now taking this road trip, it's only after the game that they discover that the governor is hugely anti-trans and even signed legislation to ban gender-affirming care in the state. Now, this was a touching learning moment for Will. We can clearly see the heartbreak and then the regret that he carries by not asking certain questions to understand who this person might be that they're taking a picture with, and then more importantly, how it made his dear friend feel. But then there's another moment at a racetrack, and the responses that Harper receives there, both unexpected, also touching. And I love that we get to see more of these types of interactions, not only with the public, but also just between the duo. It obviously draws some attention by having a film crew follow these people around, but I did appreciate that there are times when Will just hangs out in the car and then allows Harper to enter a place and get the lay of the land, not having this celebrity who distracts from or even falsifies the reactions that people have to Harper. Now, some of the interactions are good. Others, they're stomach-turning, especially when the pair hits Texas. While I shouldn't be surprised at the stuff that was said and written, it also just confirms how terrible some humans can be and how rotten their souls actually are. Now, there's a bunch of humor sprinkled throughout this 2-hour documentary, but one moment in particular made me laugh out loud and then rewind just to experience the segment again. Harper and Will are outside her sister's home, and a kid rides by on a unicycle. Now, Harper asks if she can ride it, because she had before, and then the kid says, yeah, sure. He introduces himself, and then Harper introduces herself, as does Will. To which the kid doesn't even react. He just goes, cool. Doesn't even bat an eye. I mean, I genuinely believe that he had zero clue who Ferrell was. But if he did, that kid's got the cool deadpan down solid. In addition to all the wonderful and touching conversations, we're also treated to some breathtaking landscapes and scenery. The pair drive across the Brooklyn Bridge, travel down a deserted highway being dwarfed by the open range and emerging mountains. They even take a stop at the Grand Canyon and enjoy a beer. And it's awesome how the grandeur and beauty of a scene are used to augment and highlight the exquisite friendship between the two. The storytelling is concise and efficient, while never failing to grab hold of the vulnerable and poignant conversations that allow us to witness an affirming friendship that's shaped by love, respect, and laughs. Will and Harper is a beautiful account that inspires and uplifts without negating the potential for hurtful encounters. Also, you want to be sure to watch all the way through the credits so that you don't miss a phenomenal song written and sung by one of the pair's talented friends. There's no sex, nudity, or violence, but there is some profanity. Now, as a reminder, I don't give couch ratings to documentaries, but I highly recommend checking out Will and Harper on Netflix. It's one of those stories that can make you laugh out loud one moment and then tear up the next. All right, so do you have any buddy movies that you love to watch? Let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.